Welcome back to the Fandamentals podcast where we talk all things related to sports. Man, what's happening?
What's good? What's good?
Not much, man. It's been a lot of news today, man. A lot of news today.
I
Robert
haven't.
Saleh
Yeah, I
got
saw that.
fired.
Yeah, I
And
saw that
and
coming.
yeah, but it's Robert Saleh got fired. Um, what other news did I see? Derek Carr is out for a few weeks with a torn pec, I think, or something.
Mm.
What else? What else? What else? Anyway, the Robert Saleh thing's been the big one,
Yeah.
and I didn't. I wasn't planning on talking about the Jets today, but
I
how
mean,
much input do you think Aaron Rodgers actually had?
uh, uh, I don't really think he had a whole bunch of it. Let's just be honest. We look at it. See, this. I think we become prisoner of the moment when it comes to certain things. We see Aaron Rodgers' name. They look like they kind of got a little static, and we know Aaron Rodgers is Hall of Fame and his career and all these things like that. But let's just be 100 and be real. Has Robert Saleh really done a good job coaching on the Jets over the
No,
last few years he was there?
no, yeah, not.
I mean, because
I
when you bring it into when you look at it from that standpoint, he was already, to me, you were already about to be on the hot seat. You can sit there and we can give Aaron Rodgers some credibility to possibly him being fired. Yeah, he probably got about 10, 15, maybe 10% of the prop. Whatever he might have said something or whatever, and you could just tell they were never really on.
the
What I'm
same
saying, on
page.
level, on the
Hmm.
same page. But at the end of the day, he really didn't do a great job as the head coach of the New York Jets. I think he had maybe 1 year where they showed promise, and then
Yeah,
he really didn't do good the last few years.
I agree with you. I don't think Aaron Rodgers had a lot to do with it either. It is a lot of people that think that he did. There's some people that are 1,000% sure that he did. The
Mm-hmm.
owner has already come out and said that he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that. Um, but also, it said that I was reading and they were saying that it's speculation that Robert Saleh had planned on firing Nathaniel Hackett, the OC.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how much that has to do with anything, but I agree with everything you said. Over the years, you
Yeah.
know, it's not looked good. I never thought that. I thought last year was the most comfortable he had felt, like in
Mm-hmm.
terms of head coaching the Jets. But
Mm-hmm.
we saw what happened opening night last year, where
Yeah.
you lose your guy. And I think this year I do think it was a little premature because they've won 2 games this year.
True.
Um, I think that they had. I think you could have given them a couple more weeks to kind of figure it out. But
That's
at
true.
the same time, because we're not even at the midway point yet.
Yeah. Facts.
But at the same time, I don't. It's one of those things where I'm kind of borderline with it. I do think it's too early, but at the same time, I understand. Like I get it. Like if
Yeah.
I'm a Jets fan, I don't know how I would feel as a Jets fan. I haven't. I don't know how Jets fans. Usually, when it comes to the Jets, I usually refer to Mike. What's the name? Mike Greenberg, Greeny,
Yeah.
because he's
Yeah.
a huge Jets fan with ESPN. So I
Mm-hmm.
usually refer to him with that stuff as a fan standpoint.
Yeah.
But if I'm a Jets fan, I guess I'm okay with it because what? How much worse can it get?
You can
It's
win no
it's
more games, but yeah.
you can say that, but I don't think a whole lot is changing
Nah.
in terms of the game plan. I
Nah.
think I think more is changing in terms of inspiration and morale, maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't think much is going to change in terms of the game plan.
And see, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think most of it came from that. My bad, I mess with this camera, but
You good? You
I
good?
think most of the stuff that really happened is just morale. I really honestly feel that Robert Saleh probably lost the locker room. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like over
it could be.
it does because there doesn't look like they have any kind of continuity. You know what I'm saying? And you
Yeah,
headbutting if you headbutt with your quarterback, you could tell they had a little bit of problems. Um, they can sit there and be there ain't no problems or whatever. We know
we
they're really
know.
buzzed.
We know what that.
So
Yeah, we know what
you
that
know what I'm
is.
saying?
Yeah,
It's like don't play us for fools. But
yeah.
it's just. But I think over the years, I do kind of agree. You could say that it's too early in the season
Mhm.
for him. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they 1-4 or 0-5 or something like that, which is
Yeah,
true. But I think just from certain standpoints, just the fact that you kind of get tired of being stagnant. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
over the last few years, they've been stagnant. They don't look like one week they look good, next week they look like they fall back again. You
Right.
know, his thing is defense, and his defense ain't really been that stellar with the players that he got for his defense. They should be top ranked,
It's a
really.
really good
Yeah.
defense.
So you know that sometimes that just looks like you don't have you're not the voice of your players no more. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So it's just like, and then it just might be for time for a change. Now you change him, and let's just say hypothetically, let's say you go get a Bill Belichick. You know what I'm saying? When you're looking at coaches that's out there, not saying that he's gonna make the Jets a Super Bowl contender, but
Yeah.
Belichick is very good with schemes on defense, and he's did what he did with a Hall of Fame type of coach. You know what I'm saying? I mean, a Hall of Fame type of QB.
Quarterback.
So it's just like you get options out there to go get him. Maybe that's what they're thinking. I don't know. I ain't checked no headlines about who they might even have in mind. There hasn't been no news from what I've seen about Belichick coming into coaching again.
Belichick
Last
will
time I
never
heard,
take the Jets job. He hates the Jets.
so there it is. So you know what I'm saying. So you just got certain things that's just out there, and maybe it just was time for a change. Sometimes it's just time for a change. It might be
Yeah,
premature, but sometimes you just need a new voice, and that's what I
I
think they're going with.
I agree with you on that. Like 1,000%. Things get stagnant.
Hmm.
There's time for a change. It
Hmm.
never it never took off. Right.
Yeah,
It seemed like it wanted the wheels were out
yeah,
and the wings were ready, but it just never took off. I
yeah,
agree with that. There
and
um there has to be something that has to change.
yeah,
You got to shake it up.
yeah, and then on top of that, you're talking about like you got a your quarterback's 40 something plus years old. He ain't got
Hmm.
very much lifeline left in the NFL. To
Hmm.
be honest with you, he's not as mobile. He's even admit he's not as mobile as he used to be. Things are
Yeah,
hurting, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
who knows how much longer he got to play or
right.
he will play.
Hmm.
And so the mind thinks one thing, the body tells you a whole different story.
Yeah,
So, it's just like, well, I want to win now. They don't have time to be sitting there waiting. So I think that's what they did. They just decided, well, we're gonna try to get a new voice, pull the plug, let's just get this moving in another direction.
well, speaking of stagnant and moving some things around, the New England Patriots announced today that Drake May is going to start against the Texans next week. What are your thoughts? Did you get a chance to really watch any Drake May? What do you have on that?
Good for him.
Yeah.
I
What
mean,
can I mean? I don't
I
think.
don't really have an expectation. You know what I'm saying? Like he's another rookie quarterback. I don't
Yeah.
try to put any expectations on rookie
No
quarterbacks. It
stock
is
in
what
that.
it is.
No
Yeah,
stock in that.
you
Yeah.
know, I hope for the best for the guy. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I hope he comes in and he's actually able to get them going the right direction, or at
Right.
least to show some type of promise for his own career, if
Yeah.
anything. You know what I'm saying? But I don't really have a big thought on that. Most rookie quarterbacks, I'm kind of one of those when it comes to a rookie quarterback. Show me and then I will, you know, have an
Yeah,
opinion on that.
yeah,
But until you show me what you can do, what I'm saying, prove to me if you or just show me what you can do. Just go
yeah,
out there, show me what you do. It's the NFL, so it's like I don't put a lot of stock in that. When those that excel, like your Jaden Daniels or your CJ Stroud, it's amazing.
yeah.
And then when those that struggle, you got your Justin Fields of the world that really struggled, your Caleb Williams who's been struggling all year long, or
Hmm.
those that just don't never get off. Then it's just like, well,
Yeah,
I mean, you're gonna be hit or you're gonna miss. Like we
right.
just talked about Trevor Lawrence. You know what I'm saying? He's got all this stock. I never really was, oh, Trevor Lawrence is about to be.
Yeah,
You don't know what they're going to be in the NFL till they get on that field.
that's
Bo
true.
Nix has looked stellar in the preseason.
Hmm.
He shows flashes in certain games, and then there's
Yeah.
games where he ain't. So with rookie quarterbacks, you're gonna either be up or down. You're gonna have
Hmm.
ups and downs, and I just hope that he's prepared. You know what I'm saying? And I hope that they have a good scheme for him. Because one thing that I hate to really see is people talk about is that this dude's a bust or whatever, and
Right.
the situation that you're in is just not a favorable one.
Yeah,
Bryce Young. You see what I'm
yeah.
saying? People looking at him and they want to label him a certain type of way, but we know he don't have a good offense around
Offensive line.
him.
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
So it's just like, what do you expect? I
Hmm.
didn't expect much from Bryce Young, just like I ain't expect much from CJ Stroud or whoever else you put out there. Now I hope that they do good.
Right. Well,
I
we
think, and that's just it.
we live in a microwave society, and we want them to be successful overnight.
Hmm.
It's not like it was 25 years ago,
Yeah.
where even 30, 40 years ago,
Hmm.
where there was some bumps and bruises, and we see some of these players may need um, a couple bumps
Two,
and
three
bruises to
years.
finally figure it out,
Two,
like,
three,
or
4, 5.
the
Look at
right
Sam
fit.
Donald.
Yeah,
The right
the
fit.
right
You know what
fit.
I'm saying? Yeah.
It matters.
So yeah, so a lot of times, it's just I think it's just so bad on them boys that they go out there and we put so much stock or so much pressure on them to
On
do
them to be
great.
successful immediately. Yeah,
It's like,
and I'm
look, just
guilty
think
of it
about it.
too.
I mean, we all at some point. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying, right? Yeah, we all at some point. And the thing about it is, it's 32 NFL teams.
yeah,
Everybody can't win.
yeah. That's very true.
Everybody can't win. So you blame the
Very true.
quarterback where they're not winning.
Hmm.
I just hope he does good. So,
Yeah,
I never really was. I wasn't. I'll be honest with you. I wasn't big on Drake May. I don't
hmm,
didn't watch him all that much, but I hope the dude does pretty well. You know what I'm saying? I
yeah,
wish well on any quarterback, unless you play for the Cowboys. But
yeah. That's right. Bingo,
I'm
bingo.
just serious.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm just serious.
nah,
Yeah,
but for real though, I mean, just to keep it 100, it's just like
hmm,
I hope he's able to go out there. The man is able to make a nice career for himself, and
right.
and become a decent starter and earn his position, earn his keep. I think the
Yeah,
way that they went about him, putting Brissett in front of him, letting Brissett get out there, giving the guy a little more time. You know what I'm saying, to learn. I hope that the time that he wasn't starting, he was still trying to get better with the offense, learn more, get more
right.
reps in. You know what I'm saying. However they were able to try to tutelage him to become the starter. You know what I'm saying.
Right.
Just
Right.
give him the tools for him to be successful. That's all you can ask for. And
Yeah.
I hope they prepared him for the moment. And this is a big moment, so congratulations.
Yeah. It is.
I'm just not jumping out my chair
Yeah.
over
About it. Yeah.
it.
And we're talking about rookie quarterbacks and young quarterbacks and giving them time. And
Hmm.
I don't know if you saw the presser that got released from the Carolina Panthers, where their head coach was like, uh, "I don't." I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but it
Hmm.
was along the lines of, our offensive line is banged up, and we're trying to figure it out, and we want to protect Andy Dalton, so we're going to start. Uh, we may just want to start Bryce Young,
Hmm.
and I'm like, hold
Okay.
on, the the young
So
kid that's dealing with,
so let's bang up the young kid and keep
yeah,
the old head
yeah, like the
in
young
place.
one that's scared for his life behind this offensive line already.
Got you.
He needs confidence builder. He
Got
needs
you.
to be built
Hmm.
up confidence
Yeah,
wise.
because
You
when he
want
was
it.
starting,
You
when he
want to
was
put him
starting the
behind that
last,
offensive line.
yeah, when he was starting the last 2 years, y'all helped his confidence by putting him
Yeah,
out there on that field like that.
yeah.
Carolinas don't know what they don't know what they want to do.
They
They do not know which way to go. They don't know if up is up or down is down.
it's
Left is right for them, right is left.
yeah.
It,
It's bad.
they they are dysfunctional right now. They
They are very.
and for them to not do anything, and I'm still gonna go back. For them to not do anything for that offensive line this offseason is really a sign, tall
Yeah,
tale sign to me.
that's a tall tale sign for sure.
So yeah, I don't like that for him. I think it's
I don't
time. I
either.
think they need to look into trading him. To be honest with
Yeah, put them in an organization that
yeah,
cares
let's get him somewhere else that's gonna at least give a give a damn about the boy's
about them.
career.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
gonna throw him out there because we're gonna protect Andy Dalton. Like Andy Dalton has just been some big savior for the Carolina Panthers this year. They
yeah,
got one win since
yeah,
Andy Dalton been the starting quarterback so
yeah,
far,
yeah.
and they
I
just get they butt whoop.
yeah, yeah.
So
So
not much changed.
not much right.
I mean, you get
Th-
better. I will say you get better quarterback play because he's more mature, but still not much change because
Not much
at the end
change.
of the day,
Yeah,
the team is not prepared for winning. They
yeah.
have no offensive line. It's
Yeah, it
curtains.
starts there. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've been over this time and time again. How important the offensive line is to winning.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
Yeah, it's
there's
just
no other
killing
way
me.
to explain it. As everybody knows this, right? Besides the GMs and ownership of the Carolina Panthers, like they're the only ones that are on the
Clearly, they
outside looking
clueless.
in.
Yeah,
Right, they're on the
clearly
outside looking in.
clueless.
I don't know what to say, but I will say I do believe. Like at first, when people were talking about, I don't know what we would give up, but um, obviously we have veteran leadership with the
Mm-hmm.
Rams in
Mm-hmm.
terms of quarterback play,
Mm-hmm.
but also we probably have that for maybe a year or two. Maybe get Bryce Young there to get some tutelage. Work with McVay.
Might need it.
At first I wasn't too keen on that, but then
Mm-hmm.
I started looking at it and I was like, maybe. So we'll see.
I mean, to
We'll
be
see.
honest with you, would it be a good fit? Yeah. Y'all could benefit from it. Definitely. He could benefit from being over there. If
I
you can
think so.
um, get him over there behind Matt Stafford, learn the game behind a veteran quarterback that's been successful.
Mm-hmm.
Andy
Yeah.
Dalton has success, but it's not as Matt Stafford's success or whatever. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? He ain't no Super Bowl winner now. When he was in Cincinnati, he was pretty good.
He was pretty good.
But
Playoff
yeah,
quarterback.
playoff quarterback. So but I think just that like you said, you get him in the right coaching situation, which I think a McVay would be a great coach for him.
Yeah.
You can get him over there and actually save his career already. It's sad to even say that the boy needs his career saved and he's only in second year.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It
mean, it's
is
just
sad.
crazy. It's just crazy. They
It
they
is
just
sad.
have no clue what to do over there in Carolina. They have no clue. None.
Yeah. None. Um. So initially, I was going to ask you this. I was thinking about it today, and uh, I watched the game last night, and I was like, okay, KC is 5-0, and they haven't. They're not even a good 5-0 team. They're just 5-0, just
Mm-hmm.
slipping by.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I was looking at Minnesota, and for the most part, they've been pretty convincingly good.
Yes. Yes.
Who is the better 5-0 team in your
Minnesota.
opinion? Minnesota.
Minnesota
So
by far.
so I got Minnesota because they're the most balanced team
Mm-hmm.
on the offense and defensive side. They
Yep.
do everything well. It
Yep.
looks like a team that trusts each other. when I watch Kansas City, it doesn't look like Patrick Mahomes actually trusts yet. It seems like he's still figuring out who he's gonna throw to. Travis
Well,
Kelsey
he
is
kind
on
of
his pop
is.
star run, so and
Well,
and so
I will say Patrick Mahomes is trying to figure out who he's going to throw to. They keep getting injured. I mean,
yeah, that's
boys
true.
is they banged up, but Xavier Woods has looked good.
That's true.
So he's actually looked good for them. Smith Schuster did okay yesterday. He's familiar with at least the offense there. You
Yeah,
still got Kelsey. They switching out running backs. Hunt's back in KC after
Casey.
being
Yeah,
gone for years, but he's
yeah,
he's played under Andy Reid. So they got. I mean, I will say they are a very banged up team right now. So that's one thing you could look at. But even when they first started the season opener against Baltimore, it wasn't looking like they were just this dominant team.
team.
Not
Yeah,
how Minnesota is looking. Minnesota is looking like both ends of the ball we can beat you,
right.
whether it's offense or defense. You know what I'm saying? Now, hopefully Aaron Jones is not. I know he got injured the other day,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, hopefully he could stay. Get back on the field and be healthy. But that
Right.
gives them a running game. Then they got of course, you got a deadly receiver, and
Jefferson
Dalton is just he's playing out of his mind right now. You know what I'm saying? So they are looking really good on both sides of the ball because that defense right now is real. That defense is real.
yeah.
They've been able to do a whole lot, create turnovers,
Mhm.
get pressure on quarterbacks. Yeah, I think they're the most complete. They're the best 5-0 team right now.
I agree, and the thing is, when you go and look at Minnesota, one of the key things um I want people to really look at. Like I'm generally not one of those people that are like, if you're a good receiver, you're a good receiver. I know we do put them into tiers and stuff like that,
Hmm.
but this year is actually showing you why Justin Jefferson was worth that money. This
Hmm.
year is showing you because in the beginning, I remember saying, and I was wrong. I remember saying, yeah, I don't see it for Minnesota because who's gonna throw Justin Jefferson the ball? It
I
doesn't
think we
matter, you know.
all, I think we all
And
was kind of like that because I didn't put no stock in Sam Donald.
yeah, yeah. Well, he's proven me wrong.
Yeah, he's
He's proven a
definitely
lot of us wrong. I
put.
did not see this coming from Minnesota. Um, it just it's surprising, and that whole division actually looks really good.
Yeah.
Green Bay doesn't really. I know they just beat the Rams, but that game realistically, like we gave that away, right? Um, yeah,
Yeah.
we just gave that game away. But no, realistically, that division. I mean, the Bears. They're still kind of, but they're winning. I can't. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
They're doing
Their
some winning.
defense is definitely keeping them in
Yeah,
ball
their
games.
defense. Well, that's
So
a
I will
that.
say their
Yeah,
defense is really good. Their defense
yeah,
is good.
and
It's
and
keeping them
and
in ball games, and they're not giving up too many
right,
points like out there like that, and they're
right.
keeping them being able to stay in there. Green Bay, Green Bay's problem is, I mean, when you lose your starting quarterback for a couple of weeks,
Yeah,
so Jordan Love hasn't been playing all year. So that's one hiccup they got there, but they're okay. They look at okay. Then of course you got Detroit.
yeah,
Detroit looks good.
yeah,
And then Minnesota is just looking stellar. They're
yeah.
just a step above all the teams right now.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, so that's a fun division right now. I've kept
Hmm.
up with that pretty good. I mean, and the thing is, that was actually you think about it, like I would say most analysts and most fans of the sport would have said that Detroit was going to run away with this division, and right now, clearly,
Mm.
that's not as what is happening. Um,
I would have had them the favorite, but run away. Nah.
well,
See, this
because
is it. But see, this is what I have against running away with certain divisions.
okay,
These are your division rivals.
true.
there is no running away. As you seen Sunday with my
Yeah.
49ers
Yeah, Arizona and
losing to
49ers. Yeah.
Arizona.
Yeah.
Nobody, I don't think anybody had Arizona winning that game.
Nobody had
But
that. Yeah.
but when you really look at it in the division, like for me being a 49ers fan, although I expected us to win, Arizona's always one of them damn teams that just
Yep.
they wake up on a Sunday and they decide to play.
Yeah.
Now, granted, we gave that game away, to be honest. Well, I mean,
Very.
what can you really do when you lose your kicker?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we couldn't kick the ball, so it's not like when we had if we was to be in field goal range, we was gonna kick it. We only had a punter, we ain't gonna kick it, so we had to score. But we kind of beat ourselves with our turnover at the end of the game,
Hmm.
you know. But overall, though, it's just always your division is always the hardest opponent you're gonna deal with. You see them twice every year. They know your
Yeah.
schemes. That's why you ever seen even going back to last year, watching the 49ers play, we blew teams out like crazy. And then we play the Rams and it's a low scoring game.
Yeah.
It's just like you play Seattle, you're
It's
gonna get your
tough.
best, toughest opponents against the teams that is part of your division.
Yeah.
So when we saying running away, it's kind of like I can't say they're gonna run away. I could say that yeah, they might beat other teams outside of division really handily, and you could look at the division teams and be like, yeah, they should just roll over them. But let's just be honest with you, Detroit, Detroit looked really good last year, but Green Bay looked really good in the playoffs. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Minnesota, if it wasn't for Justin Jefferson being banged up most of that year and Kirk Cousins being out,
That's
they
true.
their story would have been a
They
lot
look good.
different.
Yeah, that is
You
a
know what I'm
fact.
saying? So
If
it's
not,
just like
if Kirk
yes.
Cousins had not got hurt and Justin Jefferson wasn't
Hmm.
banged up,
Yeah.
that story could have been
So
totally different.
when you are looking at them from those standpoints of you know, yeah, Detroit is a really good team. They are a really good team,
Hmm.
but don't take away what those other teams in those divisions actually pose problems for your best teams in those divisions. You just don't run in. It's very rare that you just run over a division opponent like it ain't nothing. We ain't it ain't the Cowboys and New York Giants. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even if you look at it from this year, Cowboys barely beat New York, and New York
Yeah.
was looking horrible this whole
That's
year,
true.
except for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like they've been playing stronger. So
Hmm.
running away with the division. I would have think they were the favorites. Yes, I will say they were the favorites, but divisions are always the trickiest thing to ever deal with.
Yeah.
Always.
Very true. I mean, our the only win that the Rams have this year is against the 49ers.
Not too much. Not too much. Don't be
I had to
trying to
throw,
don't not too
I
much.
had to
Don't be
throw
trying to
that one
sneak that junk in there now. We ain't gonna do that. We ain't gonna
in.
do that. We'll cut the podcast off early. Not too much.
Not too. Yeah,
Not too
man,
much.
but
Just because we 0-2 in the division, not too much. Hold on now.
y'all are 2 in the division.
And I said
All
not too
right.
much. Not too much. We don't do that around here, okay?
Hey, that division is wide open too.
It's always like that though, bro. It's
Yeah,
it's just like that, like
yeah.
because it's
Wow.
always injuries gonna play a big part. Because we didn't expect Minnesota to be 5-0.
Nope.
We expected to be Detroit,
Yeah.
but it's not Detroit now, is it? So
Yeah. It is. Yeah. It be like that. Did you happen to watch the Cincinnati and Baltimore Ravens
yes,
game?
yes,
That was a great game, man.
yeah, very good.
That was
Can't
a
stand
really
Lamar
good game.
Jackson. He cost me my fantasy football win, man. Yeah,
Hey,
he alone got 47 points. And
remember I
it just happened to be
told
against
you.
D Town.
Hey, but last year when I drafted Lamar Jackson, I got slack. I drafted him in the first round, and people was giving me slack for it. Look, here's the deal. I've defended Lamar Jackson week after week after week. I've defended him, even when people talk down on him. I talked about it like over and over and over again. At what point? At what point are they gonna like say like give him his respect, man? I know they keep going to the playoff thing, but as many breaks and as Trevor Lawrence has gotten and
Mm-hmm.
the excuses that he has gotten,
Mm-hmm.
and then it comes to Lamar Jackson,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
Preach
it's
it.
it's always an issue. It's always
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson's fault. But Trevor
Yeah.
Lawrence literally out here going 8 games in a row without winning, and they he getting they defending
They
it
move
and
that
trying to
goalpost.
they move
They
that
always move it.
goalpost.
But
At
Lamar
what point?
Jackson, Lamar Jackson will not get his respects until he gets to the Super. No, matter of fact, until he wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
He's gonna have to win
because
the Super Bowl in order to gain that respect.
because
It's
Cam
not
because
gonna be
Cam Newton
enough.
Cam Newton got to a
Yep.
Super Bowl. They still didn't respect him.
Nope. They still don't. A
Yeah,
lot of times they don't. They don't.
they
But it's
don't.
just
Yeah,
like he's gonna have to win. You see, the
yeah,
thing about it is, I think it's because Lamar Jackson is not your typical quarterback. He's the Michael Vick of the world.
yeah,
People love to see Michael Vick, but they love to hate on Michael Vick. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? When Mike Vick was doing what Lamar Jackson's doing, he got the same type of hate. Well,
yeah,
he can't win it. He's not
yeah,
that. Now, yeah, we could sit there and be like, well, Vic was loved. No, Vic wasn't loved like that. He was beloved because of how he played the game, but they don't respect running quarterbacks. They never did really respect running quarterback.
no.
I can't say a running quarterback. Let me say a scrambler. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, okay, yeah,
They
yeah,
didn't.
yeah,
They don't respect the scrambling archetype.
yeah,
Like you look at Patrick Mahomes. He's not a scrambler. He's not your Lamar Jackson.
yeah.
People
He
love
knows how
Patrick
to extend.
Mahomes.
He extends
Yeah,
plays.
exactly. He's your
Yeah,
Russell Wilson, the
yeah,
annoying little pest.
yeah,
Because you
yeah,
you think you got him tackled and they throw some wild, crazy stuff. And Lamar Jackson will not get his respects until he wins the Super Bowl.
yeah.
Then
Period.
people will actually start respecting him. Until then, they gonna always say he can't win it. He ain't win it. He ain't never gonna. Even if he gets to the Super Bowl and he loses in the Super Bowl, he
Yeah,
can't. He
they'll
ain't never
say
win the
again.
big one.
Yeah, yeah, and the thing is, like, that's people on the couch. Because I'm gonna tell you what, if you make it to the Super Bowl, you got my respect because that's hard.
Yeah,
Like
very hard,
that's hard. Like
bro. Let's just be real. If you make it to a playoff, you
yeah,
know how hard it is to make it to the playoffs in the
yeah,
NFL.
it's hard, man. Yeah, that's
I
hard.
mean,
Like
like,
I often think about Jim Kelly, right?
poor
Jim
guy.
Kelly has made it to multiple Super Bowls.
Do we ever talk about Jim Kelly?
Nobody ever talks about him.
Was Jim Kelly a
Multiple
great quarterback?
great quarterback.
Yes. Was that Bills squad was stacked?
Oh, stacked. Yeah,
They were
absolutely.
stacked, bro.
Yeah, they
Like
were
nobody talks about Thurman Thomas like that. He was a hell of a running back.
running back. Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like you don't get mentioned until you win the big one.
yeah,
But we
yeah,
don't talk about them. But the thing about it is though, is also sometimes it's just your play style, who you play for. Like
yeah.
Dan
Matchups
Marino,
matter.
Dan Marino was considered one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and he don't even have a Super Bowl ring
Yeah,
either.
yeah,
But we don't ever put Jim Kelly in the same concept as Dan Marino. But Jim Kelly done been to what, five? Was it five Super Bowls?
yeah.
Six Super Bowls? I know he went to
5 or
like
6.
four straight. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like we talk about Tom Brady winning all these
yeah,
Super Bowls. Jim Kelly was the first one to go to multiple, like literally
yeah,
four in a row.
yeah,
So it's just like sometimes you just don't get respect on your name depending on how you play. We even look at Aaron Rodgers, some of the media press and stuff. Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl, but you
yeah.
know
He
what they
did.
say? He's the best quarterback we've seen, but he ain't won a Super Bowl in X amount of years. But he's
Right.
won a Super Bowl.
He's won it. That's hard to do. That's hard. Dan
As you can
Marino didn't
see,
win one,
exactly.
and he's
As you can see, how many times has Aaron Rodgers been to a conference finals game
yeah.
and
It's
just
hard to
couldn't get
do.
over that? It's hard, bro. It is
Yeah,
super hard to win
it's
in this
hard to
league.
do. Yeah, it is.
So it's just like pay respects to the players of how they play right now. Like
Hmm.
we and even though I'm not a Cowboys fan, I can't stand them. But when you
Yeah,
look at Dak Prescott, we judge him by his playoff record, right?
Mm-hmm.
He can't win a playoff game. That's hindering him. You look at his regular season
Regular
numbers
season
though.
numbers are outstanding though. He's a really good regular season quarterback.
Yeah,
Like
he really is.
re- regardless, like but
Let me just
here's
take out. Let me hold on. Let me put my cowboy hate off to the side real quick. He's a good quarter. He's a good quarterback
he's a
stats
good.
wise.
Mm-hmm.
He really can. He could do what he's supposed to do out there. You can't
Mm-hmm.
knock him for what he's actually been able to accomplish.
Right.
But we do know he falters in the playoffs, so that's why he's getting ranked to where he at. Now, if Dak was to win and go to the Super Bowl,
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll put more respect on his name. But he has to show that part. It's just that. But I even think that like Dak, I think if he gets to a Super Bowl, they'll probably put
Mm-hmm.
more respect on his name
All right.
because
All
of
right.
because it's a Cowboy,
Because
because it's
he's
the
right.
Cowboys,
Mm-hmm.
and they ain't been to the Super Bowl in forever. So if he
Yeah.
gets to one, they're gonna put more respect on his name for that. Lamar Jackson to me has to win one before they'll respect him though.
Talking about Super Bowl quarterbacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have prime Drew Brees
Mm-hmm.
or prime Aaron Rodgers, which one are you taking?
Mm.
Because they love Drew Brees.
Mm.
I
Let me get
see
Aaron
way more
Rodgers
hate for
still.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, let me get Aaron Rodgers still though.
I'm
I'd
taking
rather
Aaron
have
Rodgers,
Aaron
bro.
Rodgers over Drew
I'm
Brees.
taking Aaron Rodgers every
That
time.
is, and that is not a knock on Drew Brees. He was a
It's
hell of a
not.
quarterback, but
It's
Aaron
not.
Rodgers
Yeah.
to me, he's just a step above Drew Brees to me.
Yeah.
We're not talking about younger. We're not talking about old Aaron Rodgers we see now. We talk about
Yeah.
prime, like you said, prime
Prime.
Aaron Rodgers.
Prime
He
and
was a
prime Drew
beast.
Brees. Yeah. Like
Prime Aaron Rodgers
Super
had you
Bowl
scared on that football field, bro.
Super Bowl winning Aaron Rodgers and Super Bowl winning Drew Brees. Give me Super Bowl winning Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers has done it with less.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's had to create receivers. To be honest with
That,
you,
very true.
outside of him having like Devontae Adams, he had what's the boy's name? I can't think of his name before
Oh,
Devontae Adams.
Cobb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Randall Cobb.
Randall
I
Cobb.
mean, he's done had decent receivers, but when you look at it from the grand scheme of things, they ain't never gave him anything for his team. They
Yeah.
never drafted anybody good for him like that. He just the
Yeah.
people that he
He
get
just
are
made it
worked out
work.
of the mud. Like
Hmm.
Devontae Adams has been the best receiver he's ever played with.
Yeah. But they didn't know Devontae Adams was going to be that Devontae. They
Exactly
didn't
what
know
I'm
that.
talking about.
Yeah. They
Exactly.
didn't know
You
that.
have to create those monsters right there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he did more with less. Drew Brees
Hmm.
Drew Brees he's had some decent receivers with him too.
Oh,
So
yeah. He has. He
Michael
has some.
Thomas and all them boys
Hmm.
out there. Yeah, and he's had
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
stout running game and all kinds of stuff. Right. They never gave Aaron
Hmm.
Rodgers anything. He's had to get it
Right.
out of the mud for a lot of years.
Why do you think that generally happens with quarterbacks? Like when we go back and look at running backs that haven't won Super Bowls, we still give them their flowers, but quarterbacks, they usually get forgotten. And like there's very few. I mean, you have your Dan Marino that didn't win one, but
Mm-hmm.
everybody else that didn't win one, we generally they tend to be forgotten. But running backs, you don't really see that. Not even with wide receivers. Wide receivers still get their flowers. Um,
I think half of that has to come with the fact that the quarterback is the position that people expect more of.
yeah.
So
Well,
it's really weird to say that and then be like, then wouldn't you remember them? No, because
yeah.
you put more blame on them than you give credit for.
Hmm.
Like a quarterback could lose, like a quarterback could lose a game. Like let's just say hypothetically, put it this way: when Philadelphia lost the game earlier this year, and Saquon Barkley missed that catch where he could have won the game with,
They
all he
blame
had to do
Jalen
was catch the
Hurts.
ball.
Hmm.
I don't know if they blame Jalen Hurts, but the thing about it is they didn't really blame Saquon for missing that pass. They called
Okay,
either,
I see what you're
it's
saying.
a bad coaching decision to do that, or you know, they come up with other ways to curtail. putting blame on somebody. But it would
Yeah.
ultimately, yes, it ultimately does end up falling on the quarterback as the quarterback can't get nothing done. Like
Hmm.
we could sit here all day long and look at Dak can go for a throw for 400 yards in the game, four touchdowns, and if they lose and he throws like maybe one or two picks,
Hmm.
who's gonna get the blame?
Yeah.
You know what I'm
The
saying? Or
quarterbacks.
any quarterback though, because
Right.
quarterbacks are the ones that if you win, it's because of you. If you lose, it's because of
It's
you.
because of you. Yeah.
Unless you're Jimmy Garoppolo and you throw the ball 5 times in a playoff game and we run like 60,000 yards on you and we win, then yeah,
Yeah.
they ain't go. You know what I'm saying? Then
Yeah. Yeah.
you can't blame Jimmy. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
But ultimately though, it's just one of those things to where like quarterbacks are literally the ones they're gonna either be remembered for their greatness or they're gonna be forgotten for not being so great. Or if you were just middle of the road, Eli Manning,
Yeah.
you don't really hear much about Eli Manning, but he got 2 Super Bowl wins. Man,
Manning's last name
Manning
carries him a
that
lot.
carries a lot. Yes,
Hmm.
he got two Super. That's how you know about Eli. But
Yeah.
ain't nobody coming up. You ain't barbershop talking about Eli Manning.
That's true.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
true.
You'll talk about Peyton. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But you know what the story about Peyton was, right? It's almost the same thing with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
He couldn't win in the playoffs.
Playoffs. Yeah. Yeah.
He's
That's
a
true.
regular season quarterback. He couldn't win in
Yeah.
the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then he wins. Oh, he only got 1 Super Bowl win.
Then he went to
If he
another
would have
team.
only, and then he went to another team, got a Super Bowl, then they hush
That wasn't
everything
so
up.
much him though. That was the defense for the most part.
Yeah, but guess who gets credit for
Yeah. Peyton. Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
ain't got to
Yeah.
do much of anything, bro. It's like
Yeah.
you don't have to do a lot. You know, a quarterback just has to be a good managing of the game, and you can get credit for a win. A
Yeah.
running back can tear your butt all the way up,
Yeah.
and they're gonna get their recognition because I don't know why I don't know, like we don't talk about Trent Dilfer because his team, that was a
Well,
defensive team back then, but
yeah.
he was a middle of the road
Just
quarterback,
standard. Yeah. Like
but
just yeah.
it's just I don't know, it's just something like this. It's just some weird thing about quarterbacks. You either gonna be praised for your wins or you're gonna be forgotten for your losses.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Or if you're just a middle of the road quarterback, they didn't really care. Like they talk about Joe Flacco like he didn't win Super Bowls.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Joe Flacco is still showing that he can still play at a high level. Like even against the
My point
Jaguars this past
exactly.
weekend.
My
Yeah,
point
he
exactly. Though
yeah he
we
could play
know,
at a high
but
level.
we know Baltimore was defensed up, so that's what the recognition was. But
Yeah.
they didn't. The offense didn't just run because Joe Flacco was a terrible quarterback.
No, he's really
He
good.
actually was pretty decent. He's a pretty
Yeah.
good quarterback. We've seen this. He
Yeah.
showed on another team that I could come off of being on my couch
Mm-hmm.
and
And
do
carry this
damage in this
team.
league.
Yep.
Come on, man. It's like
Yep.
put respect on his name. But why do we forget about Joe Flacco as if he was just some run of the mill basic quarterback? I think he was
Mm-hmm.
above average quarterback. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
he ain't got no cannon of an arm or whatever. He ain't wowing you with his play or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that. But I don't know. It's just weird. Quarterbacks have a weird thing. You get praise for your wins, and then you dog for your losses, or if you can't get over. And running backs don't have that pressure anyway, because running
Yeah.
backs they already don't feel like running backs are worth money. So
Yeah.
when you
I'm
go out
with
here
you
and
on that.
when you go out here and you do damage, we can remember running backs for just the glory of their play, period.
Yeah.
And then everybody else is just forgot. Receivers the same way. Because we remember Barry Sanders for his greatness, and he ain't won
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jim,
Like
like we just talked about Jim Kelly.
yeah. Yeah. Jim Kelly. I mean, Warren Moon was. I know Warren Moon. Was
Another one.
Super Bowl quarterback, but Warren Moon. If you go back and look at
Mhm.
his numbers,
Really
Warren
good.
Moon was really good
Yeah.
quarterback. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like there's
Like,
there's there's plenty of them that were really good. I mean, let's take even closer to the modern day. Take Kurt Warner. Nobody really. He took two. He
nope.
went to the Super Bowl with two
Nope.
teams,
Nope. They're not gonna. Yeah. Yeah. He did.
with two
Yes, he
different
did.
teams,
Yes, he
with the
did.
Rams and
And
then
the Cardinals.
Arizona. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And
but
they don't give him that same respect. He's a
yeah,
Hall of Famer.
yeah, Yeah, he is a Hall of
But
Famer.
you don't really talk about him like that. When you talk about that St. Louis team, you don't really talk about Kurt Warner. You talk about
No,
Marshall Falk.
Marshall
You
Falk,
talk about Torrey Holt, Isaac
Hope,
Bruce. You'll
Isaac
mention
Bruce. Yeah,
those people and then Kurt Warner. It's
yeah,
just
that's
like,
true.
but it is like, but why? Because
Yeah,
they were the greatest show on turf, and that wasn't just because of those guys. Who was
yeah,
throwing them boys that ball?
yeah,
Kurt Warner was killing folks,
yeah,
killing
yeah.
them.
He
He
was,
killed
he
us too
was,
many
yeah.
times. I don't even like. Not too much. Well, we ain't gonna do that.
Well,
We ain't gonna do
even when you, if you go and look when he took, who was it? Arizona Cardinals play Pittsburgh in that Super Bowl,
that.
right? When that
Hmm. Hmm.
Pittsburgh
Yep.
outside of who was that? Larry Fitz.
Larry
Um,
Fitzgerald.
yep, Larry
Um,
Fitz. Who was the other
who did
wide
they
receiver?
have?
See,
I don't remember. I don't even know who their running back was.
see, like so. Kurt Warner was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kurt.
Yeah. He was
Yeah,
that
so,
dude, bro. He was that
yeah, he
dude.
was solid. You know what
I
I
don't
mean?
know why they forget about. I don't know why they become forgotten. Maybe
Yeah,
it's because people get burnt out. Maybe people get burnt out of QBs because we talk about them so
that could
much,
be. That's fair.
and
That's
and
fair.
then they just kind of like you don't give them the same respect
Yeah,
in all facets. We give them like I said, you give them the credit when they win, you give them the blame when they lose, but you don't really give them that same respect. Like we just talk about Lamar Jackson, the
yeah.
greatness that he can become and he does on the field, but people want to
Hmm.
still downplay his greatness or how good
Right,
he is.
right. Yeah, I'm. Hey, I'm with you. I
It's just weird.
agree.
I wouldn't. You couldn't pay me to be a quarterback. Well, you could pay me to be a
You
quarterback
could. Yeah.
because they get paid. But
Well.
you could pay me to to have that pressure that a quarterback has.
Hmm.
I don't want that.
I thought about it too. Like we're talking about quarterbacks. When I had watched that Thursday night game, I've always been somebody that's been critical of Kirk Cousins, um,
Hmm.
and I don't.
Same here.
I've been critical, but I took some time and I sat back and I thought, and I was like, when you actually look at it though, he he's a winner. Like he helps teams win, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
when you
yeah,
look
yeah.
at Thursday night, even with that game on the line the way it was, at no point did he falter.
Mm-mm.
At no point. And I was like, I was like, that's it. That's why. That's what it is. Like he doesn't under the pressure, he handles it well. Like
Yeah,
I've been critical, but
he's got supreme confidence.
he's got supreme confidence. And he's had that since Washington. When you really look at
Yeah,
it, he's had it since Washington. And so, you know, we do that. We're critical of people, and sometimes we don't quite know why we're critical. Sometimes it's just simply because of
you just don't
what's
care for
right. We just simply sometimes it's just that, or sometimes we've heard certain things,
him.
especially as fans. Fans are the worst about that, like being critical and not really understanding why, right? Um, But looking at
Yeah,
that game, that was a great game on both teams by both teams.
yeah, it really was.
Um, there was there were some questionable things that Tampa did at the end, but
Yeah,
overall that was a really good game. And after that game, I know that that was a big win for Atlanta and overtime and all of that. But after that game, you know what I was thinking? I was like,
what's
why
that?
don't why don't they put more respect on Mike Evans' name? Why? Like why? Why is his tier like so
I
low?
do
Like why do we
not
not
know,
mention
bro.
him enough? Right?
I don't know, like at all. I don't know. He's had 1,000 yard season every year for like
Exactly.
the
Like,
last 11, 10, 11 years seasons.
and he's gonna get you points. He gets into the. He's got a nose for getting touchdowns.
Bro, that's all he
He
do. It's like
gets
Chris Carter. All he do is catch touchdowns.
That's it. That's what he does is catch
bro.
touchdowns. He
I
puts
don't
points up there for you.
I don't know. Like we don't understand. Like maybe it's just because he's not flashy. Even
That's
though
the
he is kind of flashy. Well, he
he
ain't
yeah.
flashy. He's sure-handed.
He's
You know what I'm
sure-handed.
saying?
Like I
Sure,
just
sure-handed. So
I
it's just
don't
like,
understand. Like
and
I'm really confused by it.
I think it also falls into the category of sometimes it's just the teams you play for too. Like Tampa Bay, they've never really been known for it being an offensive team. The biggest recognition they've gotten in Tampa Bay was, of course, back when Tony Dungy was running with that defense
That
they
cover
had,
too.
and
Yeah.
then when Tom Brady came out,
Yeah.
with Tampa. That's the most you'd be like, oh, Tampa Bay. You don't think
Yeah.
about Tampa Bay like that. Then when
Yeah.
you see it, because like, how many people really remember Ward Dunn for Tampa Bay
Yeah.
or
And Mike
anything like that?
Allstott.
Mike Allstott, all them boys out there that's been playing in Tampa Bay. You
Hmm.
remember that defense. You don't really care for the offense, so
Yeah.
it's just like, okay, Mike Evans, yeah, he's good, but he doesn't stand out. Nobody's talking about him. The media, I blame the media with a lot of that stuff because a lot of times the media doesn't speak on a lot of these players. That's why
Hmm.
they don't get the same kind of publicity. Like you look at a Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen's a great receiver too.
Great
Really
receiver.
good receiver.
Really good. Yeah.
How often do you hear people talk about Keenan Allen?
Very true.
You don't really talk about Keenan Allen. You don't talk
Hmm.
about Mike Evans, even though he's been busting
For
boys up for
years. And it
years
doesn't matter
now.
who the quarterback is.
Don't even matter. He's just a sure-handed player. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
He's a sure thing down there. So it's just one of those things. Maybe because he's not flashy about his game. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He ain't got an ego trip either. You know what I'm saying? He don't really
No.
do a whole lot. You don't really see him
You
on the
don't see
sideline
him.
wilding out. He ain't
Yeah.
your OBJs. It's crazy how Odell Beckham probably still got a bigger media presence and bigger. Oh, he's great versus a Mike Evans.
Evans. Yeah,
And
that's true.
Odell Beckham ain't been
Ain't played
playing
this year.
really.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's just like it's weird. It's weird because I don't understand it neither. Because he can be on my fantasy football team any day of the year.
He gonna get you the points.
He's gonna get you them points.
Yeah.
So it's just I think that's just what it is. You got so many other big names out there that he gets covered up and he doesn't
Hmm.
play for. He plays for more of your smaller market teams.
Teams. Yeah.
So that's
That's
that's the other thing. You know what I'm
that's part
saying?
of yeah.
Because
That's a huge part in it.
and
The
technically, because technically
marketability.
you could literally dang near put him up there with your at least in the Brandon Ayuk tier players or Justin Jefferson. He can be in the top tier part,
Yeah.
but he just doesn't. He don't really seem like the limelight just ain't on him like that. So
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Um. Well, we're talking about receivers. Also, like looking at up and coming receivers. I guess you could say. What's his name in Atlanta? Drake London. Drake.
Yeah, that boy good.
Hey, he's solid.
That
He's
boy good.
solid. He's good. I like him. I like his
That boy
game.
good. Yeah,
I like
yeah,
I like
yeah,
his game.
yeah. A
Honestly,
lot.
I didn't know a whole lot about him. Like honestly, I
Hmm.
hadn't watched, but I obviously with Raheem Morris being the coach now, and he comes from the Rams. I've been following Atlanta a little bit more and keeping up, and I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, I like him. I like
Yeah,
this kid. He's a
that
dog.
boy good. That boy
Yeah,
good. Yeah,
yeah,
he
he's
he
he's
going
he's
he
got
going
it.
out there to get he going there. He ready for that work.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
he's
he is.
he's he's Atlanta. He's ready for Atlanta's big time
Yeah.
down there. I like his
Al-
game too.
Atlanta seems to be getting it together, man. I like it. I'm happy for Ryan Morris. I hope it continues. I hope they build on what they did Thursday night. Yeah, I would love for them to continue the success.
Yeah, same here. Same
Yeah,
here.
I would love it. Anybody that's kind of standing out after we've been a few weeks into the season. Anybody that's surprising you yet, or
I
not
mean
really?
Minnesota, but
In terms of players, some of the
um,
players.
I mean we done already talked about Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, yeah,
But like I
yeah,
said, I don't really come out with a lot of like I didn't expect him to blow like to be like this.
yeah.
I mean, of course, I didn't really have much of expectation in the first place, but to see him flourish like he's doing, that was kind of unexpected because I didn't expect Washington to be where they're at as far as how good they're playing.
Oh no, yeah, they're playing really
They
good.
wasn't on my radar at all.
Mm-mm.
Uh, let's see who else. Of course, I already said Xavier Woods. He's actually showing me something. Um, who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? I'm trying to think.
You know who? Who's looked really good too? I kind of wasn't. Well, he's getting some playing time because of the injuries that we have with the Rams. But coming from
Hmm.
Texas, Whittington,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I like him a lot. Like whoa man, he's one of those sure-handed receivers. He's
Hmm.
got the a good frame to him. I'm really excited for his future. I know it's not a lot of eyes on him, and he wasn't one of those high picks like that. But
Hmm.
I really like watching him. I've loved watching him grow over these last few weeks, and I hope for more. I hope that throughout the season, even with Cooper Cup coming back possibly after the bye week, and maybe halfway through we get Puka, but I hope that they can find a system to implement him.
Hmm.
So that's been my guy who's a little bit exceeding my expectations.
Expectations. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, a boy from Green Bay has been pretty good. Reed.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. He's
Reed's
been
been pretty.
solid.
He's been pretty solid this year. He's been
Yeah,
pretty solid.
he
I've been
has.
liking what he's been doing over there in Green Bay.
Yeah,
So I think
he's
he's been
looked
pretty
good.
solid out there.
Yeah, he has.
Um, um, yeah.
Yeah,
There's probably somebody else, but at the moment in time, their name is
yeah.
escaping
It
my mind.
escapes
So,
my mind. I
but
have you
yeah,
been able to? I've been keeping up with some preseason basketball a little bit, man. I know
I
the
just
season
watched
starts on the
the
twenty
end of
second.
the. I watched the end of the Charlotte and New York game last night. Um, I watched the end of that,
Yeah,
but I haven't really caught up with much preseason. Well, I mean, of course, I've been moving the last
moving.
few
Yeah,
weeks, so
yeah,
it's not like I really sat down and did a whole bunch. Like I could, like with the NFL, I caught some games here and there. I caught the red zone, but for a
yeah,
lot of the games, but yeah. Um, so I haven't been keeping up with the NBA. I forgot they even was starting preseason now. Should have
yeah.
known because the season's about to start soon. But
On
yeah,
the
I caught the end
22nd.
of that
Yeah.
game between Knicks and Charlotte. That was actually pretty good, all the way down to the wire. Um,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, but that's the only one that I caught the tail end. Now that I know that I got all these channels, I need to go ahead and catch some more preseason.
Yeah,
Get in that
definitely.
basketball hype.
I was gonna um I was gonna tell you because we talked about going to some games. I looked at some tickets, man. So when I come
Mm-hmm.
over, I'm gonna show you some of the dates I'm looking at because I know how your schedule is. I'm looking at like for Saturdays, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I'm looking at for like Friday nights and or Fridays and Saturdays. Um, but I'm gonna show you some of the because I looked at some Spurs tickets because I know we both would like to see Chris Paul.
Yeah,
Um, and
I love a Chris Paul game.
I'm trying to get it early in the season just in case, so
Yeah,
just in case he
yeah.
got some stiffness in the legs or something because he ain't no spring chicken no more.
He might not make it.
He might not make it, man. And that's the thing, man. That's the biggest thing when like I was so when I was looking at the tickets and I was like,
Hmm.
30 years ago I wouldn't have to worry about this, cuz obviously yeah, you did worry about like
Hmm.
players possibly being injured, but so many
Yeah,
players just played all the games, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like
Just
or
play,
at
just to be
least
playing.
at
Yeah,
least 80 of them, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like yeah, but now it's like, your star players they just if they try what's it the mark 70 they try to get or 65.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
65 mark.
yeah,
Yeah, I
they
think it's
just try to reach
65
that
games and then
65
that's it.
mark, but
Yeah,
that leaves
they
20
just
they
here
might
not to.
not.
They just here not to get fined.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just playing so I don't get fined.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
yeah.
but no, I was looking at some, man. We got to catch some games, and I definitely I want to hit some more sporting events too. I want to maybe catch a Baylor game or two or something like that.
I
Maybe a
really
two
want to go to
game or something.
the UT Georgia game on the 27. Is it the 20 something like that? It's in a
I'll
couple of
have to look
weeks
for that.
actually.
Okay, I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
look for
but
that
that
one.
I'm sure that ticket sold out.
Probably. I'm gonna look on SeatGeek, see
Yeah, I
what I
ain't
can
going.
find.
I probably ain't gonna go to that one because I don't even feel like dealing with Austin traffic like that, bro. No, not
Yeah, I
on a
feel you.
UT day, and they playing at home too against Georgia. Yeah,
Yeah,
nah, because the Red Ribbon
yeah,
Shootout is this Saturday.
yeah. It is. That's gonna be a big game too.
Red River. I said Red
Yeah,
Ribbon. The heck is
yeah.
wrong with my?
Red River Shootout.
Yeah,
Alabama lost to Vanderbilt. We didn't even talk
that
about that. We didn't even talk about that.
bro. Yeah, that's because they wasn't
Yeah,
supposed to be number one in the first place.
yeah. Because Texas
Yeah,
definitely should
because
have stayed
they
number
beat
one.
Georgia by 7 points and they almost lost that game. Y'all put them number one over Texas,
Yeah,
who've been mollywhopping everybody.
yeah. Yeah. I
Okay,
don't know. Well, Texas is
okay.
back number one, so
Yeah. Then they come back but they were saying though, Vanderbilt ain't been no pushover this year, bro. Vanderbilt's been tough. So
yeah, yeah.
any given Saturday.
Hmm. Uh.
Well, real quick, because I caught I caught the earlier podcast you did
Oh
real
yeah.
quick, and I didn't see LeBron and Bronny play together. How was that like? Like, how
Okay.
did they? Was it? Did they play well together, or did they even play at all much together? Or they just show up on the court, didn't really interact much.
They showed up on the court, and I saw some. I saw a little bit of the gameplay from clips.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so Bronny looked comfortable, and it was kind of one of them things where it wasn't very long, but
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of one of those things where you could tell it was just we're just doing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like this, it's
make
not.
history type thing.
Yeah, it was more of that. When Bronny came onto the court, LeBron was kind of in zone, and Bronny was still and Bronny was in his zone, and so
Mm-hmm.
it didn't seem like much of a big deal on court for them, right?
Right. Right.
Everybody was just kind of doing their thing or whatever. Um, the thing that I was the thing that made me excited about it was the fact that after I sat back, I collected myself, and I just thought about like, man, that experience, like to be on the court together with your
Yeah.
son, like on an NBA court, and I know it's not even regular season yet. I know it's just
Yeah.
preseason, but to that has got to be like just I
Yeah.
don't yeah
It has to be
beyond
epic. Yeah, that has to
yeah
be an epic feeling for LeBron and Bronny. Has to be
yeah.
like,
Forget
especially for
about how we
LeBron.
feel. Forget about how
Yeah,
we
yeah,
feel. How does LeBron feel? How does Bronny
yeah,
feel? Like
yeah. I think,
Bronny,
and to be honest with you, overall, I think it's much bigger for LeBron than it is for Bronny.
I agree. I agree.
And
I
the
agree.
reason, I mean, for most reason why you say that is LeBron's been at this stage, and on top of that, there hasn't been any father son duel to ever play in the NBA together.
Mm-mm.
Um, or yeah, I mean, just to be at the same, because usually by the time that any NBA player's sons getting into the league,
They're
they are
retired.
already out. They're
Yeah.
retired. They're gone. So for
Mm-hmm.
LeBron to be able to accomplish that, I think it's much bigger for him. Like, Bronny's probably like, oh yeah, I got to play with my pops on the court. That's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool. But he's,
Yeah.
you got that youngness in you, like,
Yeah.
but this is my time. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? LeBron is, I've had my time.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to share the court with my son before I leave the game
Yeah.
at some point, whenever he leaves the game,
Right.
before I leave the game of basketball, man,
Well,
ain't nothing better for him. So yeah.
also think about this too. for LeBron to still be there, right?
Mm-hmm.
20 years. He's had to have been playing continuously at a high level, right?
Yeah, that's a
And
big fact.
that's where, like I said, I've been critical of LeBron, um, and it's mostly, for the most part, it's been for fun and games, And I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned he's not in my top five, but at the same time, like, he is great. He's a phenomenal player.
You can't knock his greatness.
Yeah, you cannot knock his greatness, but he's continued to do this at a high level for a long time. Like, has there been some drop off? Yeah, a little bit, because he's not going to
Defensively.
drive like that. You mentioned that a
Yeah.
few episodes ago. He's not going to be driving to the paint like that no more. He's
Yeah.
40, we're going on 40, right?
Yeah, for real.
Like,
I'm 40 years
yeah,
old now. My knees hurting. All I did was move some boxes.
exactly.
Imagine what a person that's continuously banging his legs for 20 years straight.
Bingo.
21, 22.
Yeah,
Like 22 years he's been playing now.
yeah. So,
It's a lot of wear and tear. So, yeah.
and it just goes to show that, and I often wonder, at what point did LeBron start thinking, I'm gonna play with Bronny? Like, at what point did he start thinking that? Because I this at
Knowing
least
LeBron
at
and
least for the
his
last 10 years.
knowing LeBron and his mentality, he probably been thinking that bug since like Bronny was probably 8. Or yeah, like 10 years ago or something like that. It
Yeah,
had to be about 10 years ago.
it
Maybe
had to
even
be the
before
last
then.
10 years. It could
But
have been,
it could have
because
been before then,
you
but
don't
yeah.
spend that kind of money
Yeah, for
to
real.
keep
Like
your body in the
yeah.
condition that is in,
Yeah, bro. I don't know nobody
to
that
be
spends
able to
million
play at
dollars
this
on it.
level, right?
Yeah, he's been thinking this for a while. He's been
Yeah,
thinking this for a while now. I will be definitely be shocked if he decides that he's trying to hang on for Bryce, but I doubt that.
I
Bryce
doubt
is a
that.
couple of
Yeah,
more years later, so I
yeah,
doubt he stays around that long. But I think he is he. I think he was thinking this probably about 10 years ago,
yeah.
and
I'd have to
then
say 10 years. Yeah, at
then
least
I would
10.
then I would say he probably really started getting hype when it started coming like, oh, I got 4 more years left. This is a real thing because my body is still chugging.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? So like 10 years, it's kind of still almost like an afterthought. Like I would like to play with my son. Yeah, I'm gonna
mm-hmm.
try to make that work.
Mm-hmm.
That's my
Yeah,
goal. Try to make that
yeah,
work. But at that time, 10 years ago, you only 12 years into your league. Yeah, you old, but your body still, he's still in his groove.
right, right, right.
And then you talk because by the time he was 10 years ago, he's probably like what? He's 30, just barely just about 30
Yeah,
years old now.
about
Yeah.
30 years. Yeah, about 30 years.
So
Yeah, about
30,
30 years old.
20, 29, 30. So you kind of in your prime. You're kind
Yeah.
of almost the tail end of that prime section where you start, normal people start tapering off, but you're still in your prime. So he's probably thinking,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I feel real good.
Yeah.
And then you start getting closer and closer to that 20-year mark. And I'm pretty sure he's done probably had thoughts like, I'm so close. Let me just keep going, but I'm
Yeah.
starting to get these
Yeah.
injuries right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it probably has crossed his mind like I want to do it, but it might not happen. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna do my
I'm gonna
best to
make it.
make it
Yeah. I'm gonna
happen.
do. Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. Yeah. No,
So
it's
he,
it's
yeah.
it's real cool, man. It's real cool.
I'm happy for him. I'm happy for them. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's a good moment there.
I
Now, if it
think.
goes into when it goes to the real NBA game and they play, it's gonna be even better.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. But I definitely think that Bronny needs to develop, and
Yeah, it's no doubt.
so he needs to go put him down to the. Do they still call it the D League?
G League
G League, yeah, it's the G League now. I remember when it's
might
the
as well
D
be the
League.
D League. It is
Yeah,
same thing. Who cares? You
yeah,
change the letter. What
developmental,
they do.
whatever you call it. I think I think that he should play continuously this season in the G League. I don't. He's definitely not. You know what I mean.
hmm
And that's no disrespect. yes, all right, maybe the first couple weeks, I get it for
Hmm.
what it is, but and it's not to take anything from him, from Bronny.
No, nothing at all.
Yeah,
I
nothing
mean,
to
but it
take because
is what
I
it is.
I've been open about I want to see him grow, but I
Yeah.
think his growth has to come from the G League, and I think he needs to
Yeah.
continuously play.
I mean, it's just being realistic. Like when we look at him, I mean, it's not like you had a whole bunch of. It's not like you wowed people in college or anything like that. You had,
Right.
it's still going to be time to develop. We already know you had the heart condition, so that's already another scary thing that people
Yeah.
still going to have in their mind.
Right.
How even though he's been playing well since then, but we know you're going to have to develop. We see that you. I mean, you can see sometimes he has. You can see that there is potential,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you're just kind of like, well, it needs to be
Hmm.
molded a little more. And
The
that's
IQ was
usually,
there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He got it. He's got it. He's
The
got it.
IQ
He's
was
got the
there.
potential to at least be in the NBA.
Hmm. Yeah. From
I
from
can see
IQ
him
alone.
eventually. Yeah, I could see him eventually making somebody's 12-man roster. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I do believe that the G League is probably the best spot for him. I would probably let him like soak up a little bit of the NBA for like the first few games, maybe two, three, maybe 4 games or something like that.
Yeah.
Let him soak in a little bit of that, and then okay, now it's time to we'll just go ahead and park you in the G League and let you develop
Hmm.
that way.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, and if he does the G League thing, I will be going to some G League games, and I will go watch him in the G League. I will. I will. I'll go watch him in the G League. I'll go watch what is the Austin Spurs, the Austin San
Toros or
Antonio's.
something
Yeah,
like that, yeah,
yeah, something.
something
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
no,
So no, Austin Spurs, yeah, it's the Spurs, it's the
yeah.
Spurs.
But I'll go watch when the Lakers team goes to whatever theirs is and goes to. That's how you know. That's how you know. I just be watching it, but I don't. I don't know none of their names. I don't know.
Whatever they is, I don't know them neither. Like, bro, I can't tell you
I
either one
honestly
of them
don't.
neither.
Like I'm being straight up. I honestly don't. Like I do be watching it sometimes. I just don't know who they
The
G
only
League
G
team.
League team I know really off the top of my head is the Ignite. Yes, that's
Okay,
it.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'll definitely they put him in the G League. I'll be like, Adrian, you want to go watch Bronny on this day?
You know what I'm saying?
So,
Might just go down there, a little hour, that hour drive to go watch it. Ain't gonna be much traffic out that way.
yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, man. I mean, the season is coming, and it's usually I it's so this is my like one of my favorite parts of the year, right? And
Hmm.
it's crazy because it's so much going on that sometimes I overstimulate myself because as you know, I watch so many different like I watch hockey. Hockey starts tonight. Like my St. Louis Blues are playing right now. Last time I looked, we were losing by 2. So hockey starts tonight. You have baseball playoffs right now going on.
Hmm.
Um, um, the NBA starts on the 22nd. We're
Yep.
we're like a third into the NFL season, and also I fish. So the fall transition is coming. The water is getting cooler. The fish are going to be a
Boy,
little
boy,
bit
boy.
more coming shallow faster. They're going to be
Hmm.
on the bait fish in some shallow water. So all these things, and one of my biggest struggles sometimes is walking outside and looking at my kayak and thinking, I really want to go fishing. But this game comes on today. But it's really good out there fishing for fishing. That's like my biggest struggle. And
Yeah.
there's some days on the weekends where I have to say, I'm going at 6 a.m. and I'll be off the water before 10:30 so that I could get home, take a shower, and start watching all my sporting events.
Yep.
I have to try to navigate
Yep.
it like that, and sometimes I overwhelm myself. But
Oh
it's
yeah,
still
yours is
one of my
crazy.
favorite times of the
Yours
year.
is crazy. It's great. It's a great time of the year because I'm looking at it from the standpoint of. I mean, mine's perfect. Mine perfectly lines up because I really only watch basketball and football.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
occasionally I can watch a baseball game occasionally, You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? College basketball cranks up. Gotta watch college
Yeah.
football. Uh, but it's a perfect lineup for me because I got Sunday is football day,
Yeah.
Monday is football day,
Yeah.
at night. Then throughout the week, it's basketball. Then
Yeah. Yeah.
Saturday becomes football, Sunday
Hmm.
becomes football. So it's just like,
Yeah.
oh man, I got something to see every single day on the of
Day
the week. You
of the
know what I'm
week.
saying?
Yep. Definitely.
Oh, real
Definitely.
quick, because we've been going for a while now. One
Yeah.
thing, how do you feel about TNT losing the NBA license?
Oh man.
And
So
inside the NBA, pretty much is
it's
no more.
it's gonna change a lot of things. I look forward to TNT inside the NBA.
Hmm.
Um, I oh man, it's oh man, it's a good question. I haven't I sat back and thought about it, but I haven't talked about it. Um,
Hmm.
I don't quite know what to expect because we haven't seen the new platform, but I know what I'll miss, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
miss TNT, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
miss
Yeah.
that. I'm gonna miss Chuck and Shaq and Kenny.
Yeah. For real.
I like
And
I'm gonna
EJ.
miss
Yeah.
that. Yeah, EJ. Like I'm gonna miss that. The, and the thing is because it was such a dynamic duo. Like they were
Yeah.
so real. Like it was no sugarcoating. And you could tell when they genuinely disagreed. Like they didn't put on a
Yeah.
front for
For
the
real.
TV. It was they it was real.
It was.
It was authentic.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm gonna miss.
Yeah.
Chuck held no punches, Shaq held no punches. They weren't going to sugarcoat it
Hmm.
for you. They didn't care.
Hmm.
And that's what I
And
loved
that.
about it.
Yeah. For real. That just kind of like it. It's sad to see it go that way, man. And it's just
Yeah.
like because that was one thing you look forward to watching
Yeah.
after the game went off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't even like ESPN has had what you call it. I don't even watch Sports Center once the game goes off. Like the
Mm-mm.
Scott Van Pelt, he's pretty decent what he does. I got
Yeah.
no problem with Scott Van Pelt,
Right.
but I just don't watch sports. Like I don't watch Sports Center like that anymore. Since
Yeah,
Stuart
we
Scott
used to.
passed away, I haven't
Since
been. Yeah,
bingo, that was
I
it.
haven't watched
Cooler than
Sports
the
Center
other
like I
side of the
used to.
pillow.
Yeah, yeah, for
Yeah.
real. Like literally, I
Yeah.
haven't watched Sports Center since Stuart Scott, God rest his soul, passed away.
Yeah.
Um, but it just like that was something that I look forward to watching after. Like literally, the game could be over with, and I would just watch Inside the NBA right before I got ready to go to sleep, just
Mm-hmm.
to see them interact with each other.
Interact. Yep.
And now this year, it's not there. I mean, NBA's were going was I think it's Amazon that picked it up, and I know they went back to NBC.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and it's just like
Yeah.
inside the NBA on NBC used to be a classic thing back in a long time ago,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
just nobody has been able to do what they did with
Yeah.
inside the
Exactly.
NBA. It's
Yeah.
not even close. You can't even
Mm-hmm.
like they were on. You remember NFL Prime Time?
Mm-hmm.
Chris
Yeah.
Berman
Yep.
and Jack what's his name Jackson.
Yeah.
Um,
And
Back in the day when they actually had the little 2 hour show,
yeah.
man, I used to love watching that, bro. I
Yeah.
used to love watching Chris Berman and Jackson on. I can't think of his first name, but I used to just love watching it because their energy and chemistry would get together, made it an exciting show. And Chris Berman was money,
Yeah.
and then that phased out.
Mm-hmm.
And now the only like show that I had that used to have that kind of flavor was for the NBA was Inside the NBA, and now
NBA.
that's
Yeah.
no more. And it's
Yeah.
just like I don't even know where y'all gonna even get anything near that.
That chemistry. Yeah. That vibe. Yeah. Yeah. It's not gonna be the same. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's one of them things like you're not gonna recreate that. Like you won't get
Hmm.
that again. I don't believe you'll get that
Hmm.
again. But
Nope.
it's one of those things where we'll just have to simply adapt to what has
Yeah.
changed. And hate it or love it, that's part of it.
Yep.
And
And
that
all that's gonna
that's
happen is all's gonna happen halftime in game show. I'm changing the channel and I'm going to sleep. That's
yeah,
it.
exactly. That's it. So yeah, man, that's it. I hate that that's gonna be gone. Um, so but we'll see what they try to implement and put in
Yeah.
the place of that, but it won't be the same. It's nothing that's gonna come close to that,
Yeah.
in my
Yeah.
opinion.
You could be duplicated, but you can't outbeat. You ain't gonna never be able to outbeat that
Yeah,
right there.
yeah,
That's
definitely not.
yeah.
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 All right, man.
Often
Well,
duplicated, but never can be replicated. If that
yeah.
makes any sense.
All right. Well, I appreciate
All right,
you
man.
joining me, man.
Yes, sir.
Next Tuesday,
Yeah,
and
we on it.
we on it. And for the people that joined the channel and check this out, man, I appreciate it. Have a good rest of your week. Peace out.
All right. Yes, sir. Peace.